Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. Happy Saturday. I hope you guys have had a fantastic week. It has been an insane week for me. Monday I did a one-day trip to Los Angeles, and then this whole entire week so many people have been out at work. So I have been working 12 and 13-hour days. I have done nothing bookish and I missed it. I missed you guys. I missed talking about books, and I definitely missed reading. Haven't done any of that at all. I want to thank everyone who has watched my bookshelf tour video part 1. You guys have gotten so many amazing comments. Got a big thank you out there to the husband for all of the new graphics. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the new intro. I absolutely love it. Today's video is going to be a book haul. Normally I do my book haul videos way back at the beginning of the month, but we're a little jumbled this month in July, so you are getting it right now. Remember, these are the books that have been sent to me recently by publishers. And as always, get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads. These books will wind up on your TBR. Also, if you are so able, please pre-order them from your local independent bookstores. The authors can always use your support or have your library pre-order them for you so that you have them in your hands as soon as they come out. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and start with the first book, and that is Going Dutch by James Gregor. This is coming out from Simon & Schuster on August 20th, 2019. The story of Richard, who is a young 20-something in college and graduate school, who is sort of hit a block, a writer's block, unable to really finish his degree, doesn't know exactly where he is going to go or what he's going to do until he meets Annie, a woman who basically they reach an agreement. As long as he continues to hang out with her, be her friend, and be her companion, she will help him with his writing. Then he meets a young gentleman, a lawyer, I want to believe, yes, named Blake, and their relationship sort of takes off, and it puts into sort of everything in his life. His relationship with Annie, his graduate school, and his relationship with Blake all come together, and sort of how is that going to work out. I think this sounds like an excellent summer read. It comes out a little late in the summer, but if you're fitting in that last vacation there in August, I think that this is going to be a book that should go with you. So that's Going Dutch by James Gregor. This is again out from Simon & Schuster on August 20th, 2019. Now the next book that I'm going to tell you guys about, I can't remember. I think it's been in a video, but I wanted to make sure that I talked about it. And it's one also that I need a little help because it is a bit complicated when it comes to the plot. And that's The Mask Collectors by Ruvanee, Petersz, Vilhauer. This is out from Little A, and I believe this is out right now. Ruvanee is a Sri Lankan author, and she currently, she was born in Sri Lanka and lived in India, Thailand, Canada, Australia, and now she lives here in the United States. This was sold to me by Little A as a pharmaceutical thriller. It also sort of mixes in some Sri Lankan religious rituals. So I'm going to read it to you because it is a bit more complicated. It says, the alumni of an international boarding school have gathered at a campground in rural New Jersey when a scream breaks the silence in the woods. Classmates are shocked to find journalist Angie Osborne suddenly dead. The medical examiner's report isn't what anyone expects. Oddly, the death scene reminds anthropologist Duncan MacLeod of a thoval, which is a Sri Lankan ritual he spent years studying. When Duncan's new employer, a pharmaceutical giant, sends him overseas under shadowy pretenses, and his wife, Dr. Grace MacLeod, starts to receive anonymous warnings to doubt everyone and everything, the threads of a sweeping conspiracy begin to unravel. Risking more than their own lives, Duncan and Grace embark on a treacherous journey through the occult ceremonies of their own hidden past to discover the secrets worth killing for. So that is The Mask Collectors by Ruvanee, Petersz, Vilhauer. I'm going to hold that up there just because I'm not sure I'm saying those last couple names correctly. And I believe this is out right now for Little A. I apologize if the due date is wrong, but I think that sounds, for those of you who like thrillers, this sounds like a book that needs to wind up on your list. The next book is actually a little graphic novel sent to me by Quirk Books. I love Quirk Books. They always send me the most just the most fun little stuff. And they are putting out this little book called After You Are Gone, We Are Here Forever by Michelle Gish. Now, I am told that this is actually based on a popular webcomic called We Are Here Forever. So basically, the human race has been annihilated. We are no longer around. We have vanished. And the world is replaced by these little purple beings right here. And it says here on the back that they are playful purple creatures called the Proehls, but are they as harmless as they seem? The artwork in this is just absolutely adorable. I just love it. Super cute. And I want to say this comes out on July 30th, 2016. So this is After You Are Gone, We Are Here Forever by Michelle Gish, out from Quirk Books, again, July 30th, 2016. 19. I almost said 16. I wanted to throw us back 3 years. How did that work out? When I got this next book in my mail, I could not have been more excited because I am a huge fan of Margaret Wilkerson Sexton. And this is her second novel, The Revisioners, which is out from Counterpoint Press on November 5th, 2019. Now, her first book was A Kind of Freedom. You guys know I loved it if you've been around because I did an entire book club video on it. And this book, just from my flipping through it in the story, I think it's going to be even better. And that first one was amazing. And it was longlisted for the National Book Award. This is really the story of two women. We have Josephine. Now, there's a lot of time travel in this, but Josephine is at the start of the 1900s. I think she has just sort of escaped slavery, got her own farm, and is starting a new life. And she has a white woman neighbor who she starts to develop sort of an uneasy but friendship with. But that woman is also very close and has a lot of connections with the Ku Klux Klan, which, as you can imagine, puts a lot of stress on Josephine, her family, and the life that she is currently trying to live. The other part of this story is actually Ava. I want to make sure that it is Ava. And Ava is in current times a descendant of Josephine who is dealing with her own race-related issues in modern times and her own relationships and so on and so forth. I apologize, this book does not have a blurb on it, and I want to make sure. It says here that she moves in with her white grandmother. Ava moves in with her white grandma, Martha, a wealthy but lonely woman who pays her grandchild for her companionship. But Martha's behavior soon becomes erratic, then even threatening, and Ava must escape before her story and Josephine's stories converge. I think that sounds so amazing. And if you flip through the book, you sort of see how it jumps around in time period for the characters themselves too. So you'll read something in 1920, then 1905, and then sort of for Josephine, sort of getting a full cycle of their lives. So that's The Revisioners by Margaret Wilkerson Sexton. This is out from Counterpoint on November 5th, 2019. I could not be more excited for this book. It has been all the power in me to not read it, but it's not out till November, which is a bit away, if you can believe that. Not that far, right, really? The next book I want to tell you about is The Dutch House by Ann Patchett. This is coming out on September 24th from Harper. I have to say a big thank you to Harper for sending me a copy of this book early. As you can imagine, any Ann Patchett novel is of huge demand, and it's very difficult to sometimes get the early copies. I know that my friend Chris over at Chris's Bookish Cauldron is just so jealous that I have this sitting here ready to read. Now, this is the story. It starts at the end of the Second Civil War. We have a man named Cyril who sort of combines everything together and becomes really, really wealthy and buys a house called the Dutch House, which he moves his family into. And I guess it's outside of Philadelphia. So it's just, and when he buys this house, this sort of actually creates and starts the downfall of his entire family. The story is actually told from the point of view of Cyril's son. Him and his sister are very, very close. The son's name is Danny and the sister is Maeve. They're exiled from the house that they grew up in, and they're sort of thrown back into the poverty that their family came from before their father became wealthy. Covering 5 decades, we see how all of this changes who Danny and Maeve are, but really at the core of it is their relationship as a brother and a sister. This cover is freaking stunning. So that's, again, The Dutch House by Ann Patchett. This is out from Harper on September 24th, 2019. If you guys, like me, every so often like to mix it up and read something a little fantasy, a little sci-fi, or a little superhero-ish, that's the next book for you. This is The Nobody People by Bob Proehl. This is out on September 3rd, 2019 from Del Rey Books. The story of a collection of young, talented youth with superpowers and how they deal with the adversity, the prejudice, and everything that goes along with being different. And I think what I like really here, it says there are just a few of the ordinary bodies that with astonishing gifts who must now band together against bigotry and fear, even as one of their own actively works to destroy a fragile peace. With their combined talents, spark a much needed revolution or an apocalypse. I think it sounds just like a fun book. I think it's going to be super exciting. Fans of the X-Men or DC Comics, I think this is going to be right up your alley. It also sounds a little bit like, what are those books that Peter Klein's books that I really, really liked. I can't remember the title, but the superhero zombie books. So all that, sort of that kind of thing. Superheroes in the world, I'm bought in. So that is The Nobody People by Bob Proehl. I'm going to hold that up there for you. This is out again on September 2nd, 2019 from Del Rey Books. This book came to me and I don't think I requested it, but I think it sounds amazing. And it is actually a memoir called Hummingbird in the Underworld, Teaching in a Men's Prison, a memoir by Deborah Tobola. Now, Deborah teaches and creates theatrical works in men's prisons. So she puts on plays and stuff like that with men prisoners. And this is a memoir not only of that creative process and how that influences her life, but also Deborah's life in general. I don't know much about this book, but I think that premise sounds fascinating, and I am actually super excited. This was sent to me by She Writes Press, which I don't know much about at all, so that is really exciting. I do believe this may be out already, so I apologize. I didn't get a little paper with it telling me, but I think if you are into memoirs, this sounds like to me, if you like The Enchanted by Renee Denfield, that this may also be sort of up your alley. So that's Hummingbird in Underworld, about Teaching in a Men's Prison by Deborah Tobola. And I want to thank She Writes Press for thinking of me and sending me this. I had never heard of it, but I'm glad it's sitting here ready to be read. Okay, guys, 3 more books, and not that many more to go. The next book is for those of you who like Caribbean literature, and that is A Tall History of Sugar by Curdella Forbes. This was kindly enough sent to me by Akashic Books. I always feel bad because I feel like I say their name wrong. And I want to check the publication date from you. It comes out October 1st, 2019. So October 1st, 2019. And this sounds amazing. The story of 2 people, a young man named Moshe, who is a man, and they put this in quotation marks, born without skin, so no one can tell what race he is. This book takes place in Jamaica. I should probably have said that. Right around the time of Jamaican independence from, what does it say here? The 1950s, 4 years before Jamaicans' independence from colonial rule. And it's the relationship of Moshe and Ariana Christie, who is sort of his soulmate. And it travels through time. So it's from the 1950s all the way to modern times. And this sort of complicated relationship, Moshe's outward appearance and how people deal with that, and the relationship between him and this woman who are their sort of soulmates. And it butts right up to Trump era America and how that sort of all converges there as well. I actually think this cover, gosh, there's a lot of amazing covers in 2019. Can we all agree on that? So this is out, it's blurred by Jennifer Egan. So there is a big name telling you to read this book if you just don't want my advice. And it's A Tall History of Sugar by Curdella Forbes. This is out from Akashic Books. And again, it comes out on October 1st, 2019. Okay, 2 more books. The next book I'm going to tell you about, I didn't know much about, but when it arrived to me from Riverhead, and then I saw it on Instagram, and I apologize, someone was reading it and raving about it, and that is Marilou is Everywhere by Sarah Elaine Smith. And this is coming out in August from Riverhead. Let me get you an exact date. I love when they send me they send me these finished copies because they're just absolutely so beautiful, but I'm so used to seeing the date on the corner of them. So it actually comes out on July 30th, 2019, which is next Tuesday, if you can believe that. So get your hands on this right now. And this is the story of 14-year-old Cindy and her two brothers. They live in rural Pennsylvania, and their life is tough. Tough. And then one day, a glamorous teenager, young woman from the next neighborhood, a very affluent neighbor, goes missing, and Cindy steps into her life, and it changes everything. It says here, as Jude Vanderjohn, which is the name of the young girl, Cindy is suddenly surrounded by books and art, by new foods and traditions, and by, most importantly, a startling sense of possibility. In her borrowed life, Cindy experiences overwhelming maternal love for the first time, and in the process must reckon with her own deceits, learning what it means to be a daughter, a sister, and a neighbor. I think that sounds so amazing. And there is something about this cover that I just think is great. This old telephone just is so nostalgic for me. So this is Marilou is Everywhere by Sarah Elaine Smith. This is out from Riverhead Books. You can get it on July 30th. Get it. I think it's going to be a fun read. Do you ever have a book that just, it sort of feels like, when I look at it, I think of Where'd You Go, Bernadette? I don't know why. Maybe I don't know if they have any connection at all. But when I look at that book, I think of Where'd You Go, Bernadette? So there you go. Last but not least is a book that I have talked about because I was so excited when it arrived. And I actually have two copies because the publisher was nice enough to send me an early copy. And then I just got this absolutely stunning final copy, and that is Hollow Kingdom by Kira Jane Buxton. This comes out on August 6th, so that is right around the corner, you guys. The blurb that I read that just cracked me up is they said that this is a mixture of The Secret Lives of Pets and The Walking Dead. So I started the first two chapters. The main sort of speaking voice of this is a raven who goes by the initials SH because his name, no, ST because his name, I'm going to say this, close your ears if you're under 15, is Shit Turd. And he is a raven, and in the very first chapter, we find out that the world is gone zombie apocalypse, and he is going to be our narrator. But then you go into the next chapter, and another animal is narrating and dealing with the same epidemic that Shit Turd is, ST. I think that this is going to be super duper interestingly fun. It's gotten a lot of hype, and I think it's going to be one of those books of the fall. So that is Hollow Kingdom. Oh, it's sneaking up there. By Kira Jane Buxton. This is out from Grand Central Publishing. Should have said that. Thank you so much. You guys sent me these two copies. I have to show you guys. The back has this octopus on it. Isn't that just beautiful? And it's like this raised. I could just sit here all day and just do this. And it is blurbed by, I kid you not, Helen McDonald, who wrote H is for Hawk, Karen Joyne Fowler, absolutely love her, Jamie Ford, who, you know, The Hotel of Corner and Bittersweet, and actually is a friend of mine. And yeah, so many people. Ruth Ozeki even blurbed this book. So they are everywhere. Hollow Kingdom by Kira Jane Buxton, and that will be out on August 6th for you guys. So that is a whole stack of books. I hope every single one of them wound up on your TBR. I am really excited about a lot of them. I hope you guys can tell. As always, if you are a return subscriber, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for all your comments and for sticking around. If you are new to my channel, I hope that this video gets a ton of books on your TBR and you come back to see what I have to say in the future. And until next time, I say buy locally, read globally, and I'll talk to you later. Happy reading. Bye.